Yo.
My buddy.
You're so gay.
Buddy, I was afraid to say anything because sometimes my buddy gets annoyed at me when I talk, so I waited for him to say yo. Because I know better. What?
Baby, what's the deal? You wanna watch Netflix and chill? Baby, I'm for real. I won't pull out if you want the pill. Baby, what's the deal? You wanna watch Netflix and chill? Baby, I'm for real. I won't pull out if you want the pill.
What's up, guys? JP back at you once again, bringing you guys episode number 16 of the Netflix /Shudder /Hulu /Crackle and Chill horror podcast. Joining me, as always, is my co-host in this streaming-based podcast. We have Carly Anderson. What up?
Not much, buddy. I like how you named all those streaming sites, but in reality, we've only really used 2 of them, I think, so far.
I think you're correct, but
Yeah.
I do plan on using Hulu and or Prime soon, which I didn't even mention Prime, because I know there's some stuff coming to those soon, so it will eventually be the Netflix /Hulu /Amazon Prime /Crackle /Shudder and Chill horror podcast.
Buddy, no one's gonna find that when they look us up, and we're not gonna get any listens. It's not fair.
So, this week on the Netflix and Chill horror podcast, that's right, you heard it, this week, indicating that we put out an episode last week, because that means 2 in a row. This is incredible. We've done it. How do you feel about that?
Pretty good, pretty good. I mean, I think we're back on a roll, at least. So, hopefully we can maintain that, because I'm enjoying it, honestly.
Yeah, so basically this week we are tackling my pick, which is the 2017, getting its wide release on Netflix in 2018, 2017 technically, kind of. I don't know, did this come out in 17 or 18?
I'm thinking it came out in 17?
I think it came out...
On IMDb it says 17, but it looks like it was released February and for the US.
Let's head on over to the good old Wikipedia. Alright, it says that this film was released in September of 2017 during the Toronto International Film Festival, where its international rights were sold to Netflix for $4.75 million. It also had a theatrical release by E1 Films in October 2017 in the UK, which grossed $1 million during its run. So, it is technically a 2018 film, so this film will be eligible for our 2018 list, because it came out February 9th of 2018 on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, that film is The Ritual, which I don't think we said yet.
No, I'm pretty sure you said it.
Did I? Okay.
Yeah, we're good, we're good.
So, this is pretty cool. I love when Netflix grabs new horror flicks, especially one that honestly was getting... I remember when it was released, the press-wise, like when there was press releases, I think I remember... maybe Bloody Disgusting, don't quote me, saying that it was like a really good Blair Witch style movie, which was pretty interesting. It's directed by David Bruckner. Do you know who that is?
I definitely know that name. I don't know what else he did.
David Bruckner has made a couple of films. He directed...
Shh. No. Shh. I know. It's VHS.
Yes. So he directed 2007's The Signal, which was pretty good. I actually really liked that movie. And then he directed VHS, Amateur Night, which in my opinion was the best segment in all of the VHS films. That was the one that involved the succubus, which actually scared me when I watched it. And then he did this segment, The Accident, in Southbound, which was a really good segment. So he's kind of was doing a lot of anthology type work. And even in The Signal, he only directed a segment of that film, the segment Crazy in Love, back in 2007, then VHS in 2012, 2015 for Southbound. And he produced Siren, which was a full-length version of the short film from VHS, Amateur Night. Siren was okay. I didn't love it. And now his full-length feature film, The Ritual, has made its way to Netflix. And this one honestly interests me based on the cover alone. Like, just looking at the cover, it has 4 hikers going towards the wood line, and it's like foggy and like wildernessy looking, and it's called Ritual. Yeah, and instantly I'm like, okay, I'm sold. I love these small character, like, contained horror films, and I love spooky stuff out in the woods too.
Yeah, me too. I like the woods creeps me out because I feel like you can go in one direction, and if you like make one turn, you're pretty much effed because everything looks the same, and you might not ever find your way back, and the whole concept creeps me out.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. Woods are creepy. Mm-hmm. So that's why I picked this film. I had known about this film for a little while, based on some reports that came out when it was going through its festival circuit run. Which I haven't been paying a ton of attention to, like, festival films like I used to in years past. But I probably need to start paying attention a little bit more just so I could see what's out there. But this was one that I was excited for, and it's kind of interesting. When we initially came up with the concept for Netflix and Chill Horror Podcast, it was to stay on top of movies like this, movies that come out and are streaming and everybody's talking about them, and then capitalize on the fact that everybody's talking about it with an episode coinciding with the release. Unfortunately, we've pretty much failed at that miserably.
Unfortunately,
because it seems like our trend is to cover movies that had came out a month ago or 2 months ago and were very popular for a couple of weeks and then have died out in popularity. That's what we do, because
no one gives a damn
because this
anymore.
film was hell. Released in February 9th, and it's at the time of us recording this, it's April 2nd. So we're like way behind on the trend. But once we cover a few of these oddities and we're back on schedule, I think that we could actually start covering things when they come out, which will be really neat.
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah. And yeah, do you want to get into the film?
Heck yeah.
All right, let's give the IMDb synopsis. You ready for it?
I'm ready.
A group of college friends reunite for a trip to the forest, but encounter a menacing presence in the woods that's stalking them. Directed by David Bruckner, who we talked about. But it actually was not written by Bruckner. It was written by Joe Barton. And the novel was done by Adam Neville. So this is based on a novel. But Joe Barton, in terms of writing, he's done a few episodes of different TV series. He's done some TV movies. And that's kind of it in terms of like what I know him from. You know, just nothing. But it seems like he's done some TV work. I don't think he's done any horror, really. So, first sort of horror film here, which is pretty cool. And yeah, so The Ritual basically opens up, to kind of get into the plot a little bit better. It opens up with a couple of friends who are in a I guess, convenience store, right?
What? Was that or was that a wine and liquor store?
I mean, I think that it's that. Well, you got to understand that a lot of places have like alcohol.
Yeah, we're from. Yeah, I guess in our area that's unheard of. So yeah, it probably was a convenience store.
So there's a robbery that happens. It's kind of like shot pretty interesting. The way that they show that it's being robbed is because like the characters are just talking, and then like you kind of see like that somebody's like bleeding out of their nose like in the corner. And it's like, oops.
Yeah.
And so they begin to hide, and one of the friends hides while the other friend doesn't get to hide, and he's like kind of just in the aisle, and then the friend that did get to hide accidentally hits some bottles, and that brings the attention of the criminals, the store robbers, to the attention of this Rob character. And basically it ends very brutally with the Rob character being murdered.
Yeah.
And we get it from the perspective of the friend. Do you know the friend's name?
Oh God, I don't know any. I don't remember anyone's name.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Okay, so one of the friends, I think it's Luke. It might be Luke. He doesn't do anything. So we get the film from his perspective. We get that scene from his perspective, where he's seeing his friend being brutalized, and doesn't do anything.
He is bitch made.
Would you now, if I was dying from these store robbers, what would you do?
I would I mean, I might. He was near glass. I might try to.
He did pick up
a bunch of glass.
He did pick
bottles.
up a glass bottle as if he was going to do something.
Yeah, like I feel like I would just like full on just start throwing glass bottles at them, and then probably run the other way and hope you did not die. But the point is, I tried.
Yeah. Yeah. So he doesn't try. He basically allows his friend to be murdered. And it's brutal. They showed on screen, you know, it's a brutal murder. It's like a bludgeoning to death. And then we flash forward 6 months later, and I wasn't quite sure if this was like, was there something that flashed on screen that said like 6 months later, or did it just kind of pick up?
I think something did flash on screen.
Did, I
right after that.
Missed it because I thought it was just like later that day.
Unless I'm picturing a different movie, I swear to later. You thought it was later that day. Yeah, I'm pretty sure something did flash because I knew the entire movie that it was in the future, like way in the future.
So, yeah, that is one that I blame myself for if it did say that there was 6 months later, but something.
Wait, you thought like this terrible murder happened and then they all just went on a hiking trip after that?
Well, they're in like a bar, like in a like loft or something at first. So I think like later I realized like, okay, it probably wasn't just now, but at the same time, like I didn't know they were clearly not just like down the street from where they live. So I figured like even if your friend is murdered, you can't really just walk home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. So,
maybe. Anyway,
these guys, we do learn that it is 6 months later, or we assume it is, I don't know. And they are in Sweden for a hiking trip to honor their friend Rob. And basically, as they are hiking in Sweden, they begin to see things that are weird. So one of the people in the group gets injured. His name's Dom, and he hurts his knee. And sort of the leader basically tells them, hey, we should go this way. It'll like save half the time. And we could get dude home. which I think does he say he tears his meniscus?
Yeah, like a million times.
Yeah, he's like, I've done this before. I know what it feels like.
Yeah.
So basically, after that, and I'm not going to walk through the whole movie, but they start seeing weird things. They eventually happen upon a cabin. The cabin is mostly empty, but there is some sort of like strange, like, I don't even know what you would call it, like sculpture, not a sculpture, but like it looks like it's made out of like sticks and stuff, like a wooden artifact that is like kind of shaped like a human torso. Just some weird, ritualistic looking things. And basically the character begins to have nightmares and see like the convenience store like mended with the woods. Really weird, trippy stuff.
What'd you think about that?
Like
the way they like put the store like in the woods in his visions or whatever.
Well, as like just a pure visual like eye candy, I like it because I'm like, oh, that's neat. It's just creative. Like you get to see like something that you couldn't see in natural reality. It's like nightmarish, you know what I mean? Like you're never going to see a wooded area with like half of a convenience store room built into it. You know what I mean? So like just as a film fan and as a like visual stimulation, it's really cool. As like a story plot point, I don't love it because sometimes I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of dream sequences in general unless they are, part of the plot, which I guess technically these are, but not technically. I don't really know. It's kind of...
Yeah, it's kind of just like trying to show you what's going on in this dude's mind. But I mean, I agree. I thought those scenes were creative and cool, but I also kind of felt like they took me out of the creepy woods atmosphere.
Yeah,
a little
you're
bit.
Absolutely right. Because and honestly, that I would probably say more so as a negative. Like, even though I like the eye candy, like cool visual look of it, it does completely take you out of the scene. Because then you realize that the character is dreaming or like having visions, and it doesn't feel like he's going to like die in his visions or anything like that. When he's just in the woods, like the threat of whatever is scaring him feels like he can die or get hurt or something, or just get spooked over and over again, which spooks me. So, I'm kind of with you on that, honestly. This cabin is, dude, everything is so creepy in this movie. Like just the woods and like the stuff that's like the flashes of things you see and the cabin and like it is just a bare cabin with just creepy stuff. Like, why is this cabin even here? That's what's so scary about it. That's why like the Blair Witch has always terrified me when they wander upon that damn house. I'm like, why is this house deep in the woods like this?
Yeah, like that is the sketchiest thing, like, cause it's not like it's just in movies. Like, I've been like in woods where there's just random houses and like cabins, and then someone will be like, oh, Crazy Jeff lived in there years ago, and I'm just like, how did this even get here? Or did this dude just cut down all these trees and build a house? Like, I just feel like it's so weird when you see like a car or a house or anything in the middle of the woods like that.
Yeah. No, I agree, because like I've wandered through woods and like when I was a kid, I wandered through a wooded area and came across a dude's house, and he had like, probably no lie, like 20 cars in his yard, and I was like, this is like some straight up wrong turn stuff. and me and my cousin like left, but so, and I can only imagine. And that's not that deep in the woods. That's, like a 20-minute walk through the woods. Imagine being like hours and hours deep in the woods and seeing that. It would even be more scary. So, yeah, that stuff freaks me out whenever they see that. And there's scenes in this film that are just, first of all, the movie is shot phenomenally. Like, the atmosphere that they create in this film is so good. with the woods and the fog and different things like that. Just the design of the woods is really good too. Like, I'm not sure where they shot this film, but there's a lot of good scouting that probably happened for this film because everything looks fantastic. There's a scene of like a gutted deer or elk hanging from a tree, and it is just so creepy. Like, you remember watching it? Because we actually watched this one together. And we were like, holy crap, you know?
It's like one of those, that's like one of my favorite scares where it's just kind of like there all of a sudden, and it's not like some over-the-top jump scare or something. It's just your eyes set on it, and it's this creepy-ass thing, and you're just like, oh, I did not expect that to be there, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, so we do find out that eventually that some of the characters do blame Luke for the robbery and Rob dying during the robbery. And I almost kind of didn't like this that much because, so we know as an audience what happened, that Luke was afraid to intervene and help protect his friend Rob. And Rob does get killed. But the other characters were not there. So I almost kind of find it as a little bit of a stretch that they would assume that Luke didn't do anything. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if anybody would kind of, because you wouldn't even know if they were in the same room. Like, it's just like so much mystery to what could happen in there that I don't think that your first thought would be to blame somebody else for that.
Yeah, unless Luke, like, has explained how the story went or something. Because, like, there is a scene in the movie, I think, where the one dude's, like, really kind of going at him, saying, like, you just sat there and didn't do anything. And,
I don't know if he says that in the movie. Like, one thing I know that he says is that kind of funny that you came out without a mark on you or something like that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I couldn't remember the exact lines or anything, but it made it sound as if everyone saw exactly what happened, like everyone was watching through a freaking window or something. But now that you mention it, it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and it's really not fair to make that guy feel more guilty than he already does.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't have a scene that that showed what actually this Luke guy said happened in that situation. Because I think that is actually important information. You need to know, did he lie about what happened, or did he say what happened? Did he say that he was scared to get out from behind the thing? Like, I think that is actually extremely relevant information to later points in the film. So I kind of wish that when they made this movie, they would have had more information on what Luke said happened. Did he tell the complete truth on what happened? Did he lie? Did he say he was in a different room? Did he say that they hit him before he could even do anything? Did he say that they never noticed him there? And there's so many different ways that story can go that I think that it should have been shown to the audience.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like if that were me in that situation, I would probably not fully lie, but kind of like, go a little off on what really happened so that I wouldn't look that bad to other people. So it's like kind of hard to believe that these people just know exactly what went down and like how he could have helped but didn't and all that.
Yeah, and I think that, like, I don't know, man. I feel like in this situation, like, I don't think that it's a situation, like, I don't think that it's a situation where this guy should be blamed. Like, if I was him, yeah, you're damn right, I probably would have tried to do something, because all they had was, like, a bar. Like, it isn't like they had, like, guns or something, you know what I mean? So, like, yeah. I feel like I might have been able to do, like, win that. But I kind of think that in this situation, like, it's not really a situation where I'd blame anybody. I'd be like, yeah, well, I blame the people that freaking came in and robbed him and killed him. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why they're blaming the freaking dude. Like, that's not something, I don't know, like, I've never thought of, I would never even would have thought to blame that dude.
Yeah. Like, you know, I just talked real big and said I would save you if that were me. But I feel like in any of those situations, even if you're in the same room as a person and maybe you can help, you get like paralyzed with fear and don't.
Well,
like,
because
at the end of the day, you don't want to be the one
know
who's
that they're
dead.
going to kill him either. It just happens all of a sudden.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you're thinking, you're in your head, you're like, oh, I'm just going to like hide here to not make the situation worse. And then, you know, whenever they leave and they get there, whatever, then, you know, blah, blah, blah. But like, then all of a sudden they just surprisingly like killed that guy. So I don't know. I thought that like I think you could have did a little bit something different with that. I don't think it was like super clean the way they handled that. But besides that, I mean, then you know people start dying, and we eventually find out that this is, sort of. I guess there's a village at some point in the film, and we meet other characters. Kind of like a cult-like type thing, you know, maybe like some pagan type, like, I don't know the history of this land, like the Vikings and different things like that, and you know, that type of stuff, but I get the sense that it has to do with that. This film has like tons of actual, lore that exists in reality in this movie, some of which my friend told me about, but, it's supposed to have like a lot of like I guess has to do with like Odin and all that stuff that I'm not into, that I don't know anything about.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like I'm the same way. I can't really educate people on it because I just have no interest in it, to be honest. It's just something that's just like an aspect of horror and mythology or whatever that I'm just never been interested in. So I can't really give any input.
It's like based on Scandinavian history, with like gods and stuff like that. I find it interesting. I just personally don't know much about it. I've always thought that any kind of lore or mythology or folklore from different areas is massively cool. Like that's such a neat thing to me that, you know, people believe in different things throughout history. It's neat to see what the human mind comes up with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, dude, the movie itself kind of gets a little crazy in the third act. I think that it would lose a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I really like the, like, Blair Witchy stuff leading up to that, and then the third act just, while there's, like, some, like, brutality and obviously horrifying things going on, they're just not the stuff that I really wanted. It wasn't really the direction I was hoping this movie would turn to, because I really liked the creepy, slow, eerie atmosphere it had in the woods.
Yeah, it's very weird to me, because, like, on one hand, I could kind of see where you're coming from, and on the other hand, I wonder why, as audiences, we get turned off by certain things, because this movie has all the elements of something like the Blair Witch Project, right? But then in the third act, it I guess reveals what is the problem, like what the conflict is in the movie, what the you know, thing that's killing people is, and I think a lot of people kind of roll their eyes at that moment. And my question is just like, why do people roll their eyes at that? But not like just a witch.
I don't know. Just like for me, it took away the scare factor and almost became.
So you don't find what the reveal is to be scary, but you did the whole time before it was revealed.
Yeah, but like I can also see it is weird, because I could see if this movie played out a different way and it just kept kind of going the way it was going and then ended, like it would be the same people going, "Oh, nothing happened in that movie." So people would complain probably either way. But for me, I just yeah, it took away the scare factor. You know, you introduce more people and it gets a little more chaotic and things like that as opposed to like toned down how it was. And I don't know, it just wasn't really for
to
me.
me, it like goes more like fantasy almost in the world.
Yeah.
It definitely is following like the folklore and stuff, but it's like to see that actualized is kind of, I guess it could come off a little cheesy to some people. It didn't for me necessarily, but I mean, I guess what it comes down to is like, I still liked what was revealed and like how it ended and stuff, but I was still kind of holding on to the hope that it was something else. And, you know, like I would have rather it been something else because I do feel like the fear level and the threat level did go down for me significantly once I seen what's actually happening in the film. Not that I don't think that can be scary. It's just that maybe it's because I don't really know anything about it that it's not scary to me, or it's just, it's cool. I like it. It's cool, but I just feel like it's a different territory from where I was.
Yeah, like I totally agree with the fantasy is a good way to put it. Once you turn it into this fantasy, it just eliminates the scares, even though like, you know, you could tell what's going on in the movie isn't realistic, but at the same time, when you go full blown fantasy, it just kind of takes me out of it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that this movie is still very strong. Like, I think that it, it scared me a little bit. Like, we covered Veronica last week. I find this movie way better than Veronica personally. I know you probably differ from me in terms of your feelings towards it, but
Little bit.
Not only did I find this one cool, but I found it, you know, scary at the same time, which normally doesn't happen.
Yeah, I feel you.
Did you not find it scary?
Oh, I did. I said I feel you. Like I agree. That meant like I agree. I found it scary, buddy.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty scary. I like the setup. Honestly, one thing that I did feel like was kind of missing from the film a little bit is I felt like the characters and the, you know, survival and the fear of being lost and stuff, like I felt like they could have played that up a little bit, and they don't really.
Yeah, I agree. They kind of seem fine. Like, even though people keep getting hurt and like, you know, creepy stuff is happening to them, you get like the sense that they feel like they're gonna get away the whole time, and it's just not as dangerous feeling, I guess, as movies like Blair Witch, for example, would be.
Yeah, I feel like there could have been more too. Like, did you not feel like by the end of it, you're like, you kind of wanted more of that world, like, and you wish that maybe the middle part was a little bit longer, and like the spooks were there, and the tension got stretched more.
Yeah, like the tension, I felt like started to build, and then you kind of get to the final act too quick, and my spook level was at like a medium, and it went down to a low, and it never really reached that peak level.
Which is actually crazy because it's not often that you hear me and her say that we wish a movie was longer.
I mean, yeah, definitely
it was
not.
94 minutes, you know what I mean? Which is the appropriate length for a movie. Yet me and you both thought that it might have benefited from being a little bit longer.
Or then you maybe not even longer, just like fit, just like rearrange what goes on in it a little bit, or like shorten like the final act and make
it
the other
part. It could have been longer. You cannot.
Okay.
You cannot accept the fact that you want a movie to be longer.
I never want a movie to be longer, buddy. I thought it was fine. Yeah, come on. Like, movies, they can fit a good amount of content into the time frame they are given if they use it correctly.
I felt like they did use this time correctly. They just could have even stretched it out further to make it more tense.
I I don't know, just delete some of the dream scenes maybe and make it more wood-like, we would set.
You just need to accept that you just said you wanted a movie to be longer.
Whatever happened to we are entitled to our own opinions.
Listen, I am entitled to my opinion, and I am entitled to your opinion.
Buddy! Buddy. You don't, listen, you may think you control me, but I think with my own mind.
No. Okay. I would have liked to see maybe a little bit more of a tense, like scary, like maybe the characters at each other's throat a little bit more, like prolong that a little bit. I feel like the set piece with the cabin was so good that they could have stretched that out a little bit more. That was scary. I mean, there was so much before they get to the cabin. It was really scary. I felt like this film was most effective when it was being scary. Like, it was very cool when they were trying to be scary with it, which, you know, and by the end, I think they're still trying to be scary, but they kind of just, I don't know. It's just, it was different.
It's a different type of, it's a different type of scary that would scare a different audience.
I don't
almost.
think so. I don't even think it would scare a different
audience.
Different,
like people who are more, like in the horror community, people who are more into the fantasy horror style might be more scared by that part.
Too heavy on the fantasy element, because it is not like fantasy. It's just like different. It's like mild fantasy elements.
Okay, people who are more into like mythology or whatever the hell you're talking about, people who are more into that might be like, oh shit, this is that stuff that we are scared of. I
don't even know if they would be scared of it. I think they just think it was cool.
Cool, yeah. Okay, yeah, fair enough. They think it was cool. Me personally, I didn't really think it was overly cool or scary. I mean, it was a little bit cool, but that's not really what I was here for at the end of the day. I wanted to be spooked.
But you were spooked, right?
Spooked, yes, but I'm saying not by that final, part. Mm-hmm. You know? I was spooked. I was thoroughly spooked, though, just not as much as I was thinking I would be when going into this movie.
Yeah.
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 Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, buddy, do you have anything else to say on this one?
No, I mean, unfortunately, again, this is one of those films where not a ton of plot happens. It's very basic. Mm-hmm. 4 characters go out to the woods in Sweden for some hiking to deal with the fact that their friend was murdered, and ritualistic spooky stuff happens. Now, I will actually ask you this, though.
I didn't study, buddy.
Because, like I said, this, where I was going with that is that this movie is hard to talk about without spoiling what happens at the end, because it's basically just scares beforehand. So, what do you think? Did these guys do some sort of ritual early on in the movie?
Yeah, I thought that's what they did whenever they go up to, it's something to do with their dead friend.
So did they cause all this, or was that already going to happen?
At the beginning of the movie, just based on the title and, not the beginning, the part where they go up there and do whatever it is they do, I thought that they were the cause of it, and that's what this was trying to say, they summoned, a demon or some unworldly being or something. But when you get to the ending parts, it feels like it was already supposed to happen, so I feel like it kind of doesn't make overly that much sense. I don't understand what they were trying to convey.
Yeah. I feel. So, let's get into ratings here. This is one that can't talk too much about. So it is my pick, so you rate first. All
right. Well, going into this movie, I didn't really know much about it exactly, just that it took place in the woods, and I really like movies that are set in those wooded areas. I think the woods are creepy as all heck, and I enjoyed the characters. I didn't think they were bad characters. You know, some of the stuff they say, like how we said they're blaming the dude for what happened, was kind of weak, and you know, the spook factor was there up till that third act for me, and after that, it just kind of went downhill for me. I mean, I just felt kind of taken out of it. I was still paying attention and everything. It's just I just wasn't that interested anymore. I wanted it to just end in a way. If that sounds harsh, I'm sorry, but you know, I gave it a 7 out of 10, which I believe is actually like a 0.5 below what I gave Veronica. And I will say I found this movie to be creepier than Veronica, but I just liked how Veronica was made a little better, the story behind it, and the story of it and everything. So,
yeah, so I really, really liked this movie. I didn't even have much of a problem with the end stuff. I thought it was a minor step down, but just a minor step down, not even like a big step down or a medium step down or a like decent sized step down. It was just a minor step down, you feel?
Buddy, did you set me up? Did you set me up to pretend I hate this movie?
No, but anyway, so I liked the movie throughout. I thought it was scary. It's probably one of the better movies that I've seen this year so far.
I would agree with that.
Which this has been a pretty slow year for 2018 films. Because, like, man, dude, I haven't seen a ton of great stuff, honestly. So, you know, I was pretty happy with this one. I haven't seen a movie over, like, 8.5 yet this year, which is crazy to me. This movie is not over 8.5 either. I'm coming in at a solid 8 out of 10 on this one. It's a great movie. It really is a good movie. I think Bruckner, if there's one thing that I've noticed from him in at least 2 of the films that he's made, is that he actually is pretty good at scares. So I'm looking forward to see what he does next. What did you rate it? A 4.
What? No, a 7. I liked it. It just, you know, I agree with you. Like I haven't watched that many 2018 movies at all, but the ones I've seen have ranged from like 6 to 8, which, you know, compared to like last year, I was rating stuff like 9s and 9.5s and all that. So, but I don't know. 7. That's not bad or anything. It's just not something overly fantastic for me.
All right, so that is it for episode number 16 of the Netflix and Chill Horror Podcast. Got another shorter episode here. This is actually shorter than the Veronica episode, which is pretty crazy. But next week should be a little bit longer of an episode because I believe we're doing your pick, which is
Santa Clarita Diet Season 2.
Yeah, which I know you've started and I've started. Pretty into it so far. So if you guys want to check it out along with us, you know, watch it, and we will discuss it next week. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Netflix and Chill. Let us know what you think of The Ritual. Who had the better rating? Who did you align with more? You know, if you guys have any, you know, questions, comments, concerns, you guys want to give us feedback, anything like that, please do. I'm really trying to push this show this year. I think that it's a good idea, and I like doing it. Now that I have more free time, I'm definitely going to be posting more in the group page. Join the group page, follow us on Twitter, all that good stuff. I think we're Shutter and Chill on Twitter, and the Netflix and Chill Horror Podcast group page. I don't know exactly what it is. Do you?
Yeah, it's Netflix and Chill Horror Podcast. And yeah, I do think it's at Shutter and Chill on the Twitter because Netflix and Chill was taken, of course.
So definitely hit us up. Let us know what's going on and join us for all of our awesome stuff.